Can I Kick It Podcast, episode 13, take 1, action.
Welcome, episode 13 of the Can I Kick It Podcast. I'd like to welcome all of you back. Thank you for rocking with me. My homie August in the corner over here.
What's going on?
I'm your host, Kenyaga Malali, a.k.a. 3 a.m. Always up, never sleep. Interesting week, boy. Oh, shit, it was an interesting week.
It has been.
They played some pretty good defense this week, I'd say.
And here we are again.
I mean, Brooklyn is, you know what? Let's not even get to that first, because they also played some pretty fucking fantastic offense this week.
They did. They did.
One man in particular, that boy Fredericooo.
He needs no he needs no introduction.
Not at all.
Not these
Fredericooo
days.
scored the easiest 54 points I've ever seen anybody score in my life.
That's correct. He was getting it from everywhere. I got excited in the third quarter because here I am thinking 3 more threes. That's the NBA record for 3-pointers.
Yeah. But then they started running him off the line, and they just started obliterating them at the basket.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, you know. So cheers to making it through another week of this quarantine, which is becoming harder and harder every day.
We get in on this.
Sir August. And cheers to Fredericooo dropping 54, highest by any undrafted player since somebody else.
More importantly,
Ooh.
a Raptors record.
Yeah, beat DeMar's record. Kyle Lowry's never scored 50. Although Kyle Lowry had a great game that game as well. I think he had a triple-double.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and then I think he dropped like 30 against those clout chasers.
That go by the name of the Brooklyn Nets.
Yes, those guys. Everybody should know who I'm talking about. Well, let's touch on Fred's 50-point game really quick. I don't want to take anything away from him because I think Fred did exactly what you're supposed to do as an NBA player, and I think that's what people don't really realize about him. He might be undersized, he might have not been drafted, but he is reliable. He's a guy that hits open shots, who often makes the right play. Sometimes going to the basket, he can be at a bit of a detriment, and he plays hard defensively, right? Okay. So, anybody that's watching out there that thinks you need to be 6'9" or whatever as a basketball player, your job as an NBA professional is to make open shots. Guys who don't make open shots get moved around. Guys who make shots eventually get $84 million, whether they were drafted number 1 or not. So
this is true. This is true.
Heads up to him, and it was efficient too, bro. Like he did it on 23 shots.
23 shots. I think he had 11 3-pointers on 14 attempts.
Yep.
Or something like that.
Yep.
I mean, selfishly, I just remember these Raptors records. I remember watching that game where Vince Carter made the Raptors. Where Vince Carter scored 51.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Then I remember the game where Terrence Ross scored 51.
Yeah. That was they lost though.
They lost to the Clippers.
Yeah.
He had his 51. He was so excited about it. Great for you, Terrence Ross.
Facts.
We lost.
Facts.
And he was being cooked on the other end by Jamal Crawford.
Cooked. Like,
Jamal Crawford scored 37 in that game.
Jamal Crawford cooks everybody though, but I mean Terrence was supposed to be a defensive guy.
Yeah. But the Clippers won, right?
Yes.
And what it brought me back to is the feeling. The great feeling I had when DeMar DeRozan scored 52.
Oh, that was one of the best 52 points I've ever seen.
But the reason why I had that great feeling that I don't usually say is because I was like, oh, thank goodness. You've taken Terrence Ross out of our record books. I didn't want Terrence Ross to have the Raptors record tied with Vince Carter.
Yeah.
I was fine when Vince Carter had it, but Terrence Ross?
He never really panned out to be.
And don't get me wrong, when he was here, I was rooting for him.
Yeah.
But then hearing other media members destroy him because they have access. They see what's happening.
Yes,
and
yes.
Apparently his work ethic wasn't what it needed to be, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. I wasn't there. This is all hearsay. But
He's
that
doing well in
feeling
Orlando.
when DeMar had that 52,
Yeah?
when Jonas came behind him and held up that sign that said 52, I wanted to hold up that sign that said 52 just to get Terrence out of there. It was bittersweet
Yeah.
for Fred to get the 54
Yeah.
because DeMar is still Mr. Raptors to me.
You know what? I can't believe how well he would fit into what we do right now on the offensive end.
So remember a few episodes ago when you asked me if I want DeMar back?
Yeah.
And I said that's a super yes?
Yeah, and I was like, a super yes. I was disgusted. I often change my mind during the week after I talk to you. I need time to reflect. But, I mean, the great thing, Fred scores 50, right? Kyle Lowry has a triple-double in that game. Pascal is okay. But,
Yeah.
I mean, when somebody's going off for 50 and they've got 8 3-pointers in the
defer.
first, yeah, you defer. I really was impressed with the way they played the game following that, which was against Brooklyn. I thought if there's a ceiling to be seen by Pascal, I thought that's where we saw it,
Yeah.
right? That's where we saw it. Putting your elbow in guys' chest. I don't know what he hates about Kyrie Irving and the rest of that team. I don't know what he dislikes about those guys, but he was going at them. Super weird game, though.
That's what we need to see, though. We need to see him go at them. They're playing the Raptors. They got to feel it.
How did we get that out of him consistently? Like, what is it that are you not putting yourself in, is it that you were able to be in switches because Kyrie plays the 2? Is that a whichever? Which also, not for nothing, we miss OG Anunoby. We do. Even though we won those 2 games, we miss OG Anunoby, and it showed in the 3rd game. But
Yeah.
that's a different thing for a different time.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, putting your back into the bed. He went at Kevin Durant. He went at Kyrie. It seemed that anybody that you put on him was just, and I don't know why is it that he's so productive there, and then in games like against the Magic, he seems to struggle. I have no idea why.
Breaking news. We interrupt this podcast to give you breaking news. I think this is the first time ever.
Let me guess.
Live on air? Sure, go for it.
Derrick Rose to the Knicks?
The fuck? Bro, if you knew, why didn't you tell me? I'm getting all excited.
Derrick Rose is going to play 42 minutes a game, and they're going to ruin his knees over there. Who'd they give up? I don't know who they gave up
They
for.
gave up Dennis Smith and a 2nd-round pick. This happened.
So they got that Quickly kid, though.
Yeah, they do.
That Quickly kid is...
We're not going to do that. We're not going to do this.
I haven't
thing.
watched enough.
Okay.
I haven't
Thank
watched
you.
enough.
Thank you.
But he's apparently making a name for himself alongside Julius Randle.
Julius Randle's been a beast. When he was a free agent, not last season, not this season, but the season before,
Yeah.
I kind of wanted the Raptors to pick him up.
Yeah, I think the problem at that time was I think we had too much. Like, he wasn't going to be – at that time, we would have buried him behind Serge and Mark, right? Like, that was – you were looking to hold on to Serge and Mark. And I don't know how good he is defensively. Offensively, he's a beast, though.
Well, can't be much worse defensively than what we got going on at his position right
You will
now.
not talk about Aaron Baines like that. He's a nice guy.
I will talk about
Yeah,
Aaron
he's
Baines
pretty
like that.
fucking bad. But he's picked up his play lately.
He has, but he still can't. He still can't. His time on the floor, they still have to take him off. It's
He's
almost
not-
like he's a liability.
He's not adding to the great defense that the Raptors
He's
play.
not having those games where he starts and then I look at the stat line at the end of the game and it says 4 minutes.
Yeah.
He's not having that anymore.
Yeah.
But
He still isn't adding to the great defense that the Raptors have been playing.
yeah. Sure.
Well-
Let's go with that.
Let me ask you a question. How many points did Kyrie have in that Brooklyn loss?
I don't know. Because when it comes to Kyrie,
17.
when it comes to Kyrie,
17, man.
all right,
Like, okay, we got to admit that it is impressive that the Raptors are able to, kind of nullify Star's abilities to, you're going to have a tough night, like, coming into a Raptors game. I get it. They are not the best defense in the league. Said it. Fine. But when they're on, like, that's how they win games. It's not because they're offensively talented, they win games by turning. Even when they have offensive explosions, it's off of turnovers.
Okay.
Right? So you're playing defense to manufacture your offense. The only way you're winning your games is you're not out here shooting the lights out and, letting people walk to the bucket. A lot of the times what's happening with the Raptors is you're picking your poison. The Miami Heat, those 2 Miami Heat games are perfect examples. Bam Adebayo, comes in, he does his thing, 14, maybe 10-10, somewhere around there, 10-6, something like that, 8-6. But the first game, what they did was they allowed Kelly Olynyk and Kendrick Nunn to go off. Kelly Olynyk had 15 in that first game, along with Duncan Robinson had like 15 or 14 in that first game. The second game where they played Miami, Kendrick Nunn still scored 2. They still held Bam to like 14, but Kelly Olynyk had 4. Right? I like the Raptors' defense in the playoffs. Like, I know that the numbers don't show it right now, but I trust that defense in the playoffs because I see the ability for that defense to make adjustments on the fly, especially from game to game and the amount of back-to-backs that I've been watching. Yes, they've lost a lot of games, and yes, they've been lit up, but they are also missing 2 defensive players of the year from last year, and clearly Aaron Baines is not it. I kind of compare it to, we know Brooklyn sucks right now. Like, I mean, they don't suck. They're a good team, but they have a lot of offensive talent, and in the playoffs that you don't want to have to play that team. Offensively, they're going to be a nightmare, and I think the Raptors are defensively going to be a nightmare if they make the playoffs.
I don't agree. I like, it's not that I don't agree, it's just I don't know. And the reason why I don't know is because when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets, they have a lot of... Let's be real. When we say they have a lot of offensive talent, we're talking about 3 players. Maybe Joe Harris also, right?
Spencer's injured. Is that a season-ending injury?
He's done for the season.
Okay.
Not even playoffs. He's done. We'll see him next season.
Okay.
Right? But they have a lot of talent that can play iso ball.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
I think that's to their detriment because they're learning. They're learning, like...
I don't know if I say... I feel like Harding has been playing a pretty good floor game. And I feel the only ISO, like the real ISO problem on that team is Kyrie.
Of course.
Right? But to me, you get rid of Kyrie and James Harden and Kevin Durant, that's enough.
Yeah, you honestly don't need Kyrie Irving on that team.
But
if I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan,
yeah,
I'm saying, hey, can we trade Kyrie? Because we can get a lot of value for him. Because you can win a chip with James Harden and Kevin Durant.
Where is Kyrie a fit? Is there a fit for Kyrie in this NBA?
No. And people are going to say I'm a hater. But when I say there's a lot of talent there. I think it's his attitude that sucks.
Yes.
I could be wrong.
You're wrong.
I could really be wrong. But when it comes to Kyrie Irving, the body language between him and his teammates, you saw that comeback for the Washington Wizards?
Against the Washington Wizards? Yeah. I saw highlights.
Where the Wizards won?
You
saw the last 6 seconds.
The 2 late threes, yeah.
I just watched Kyrie Irving's body language. And, of course, he's disappointed with the sequence that happened. But call it a hot take. I feel like Kyrie and his teammates are going to butt heads soon. It's coming. And Joe Harris's reaction to Kyrie Irving pretty much singling him out immediately, it was almost like him telling Joe Harris, you fucked up.
I didn't hear. What did he say about Joe Harris?
He didn't say anything. I just watched the video.
I got to watch that video. Maybe you should.
Maybe I'm just paying way too much attention.
No, you're probably paying just enough.
Because anytime anything happens, I almost feel like Kyrie's body language is such that he's turning towards somebody else and blaming. And that's going to add up.
It is something that he does. I don't know why he does that. He is such a creative basketball player. I just wish he was a more creative passer.
I pointed this out to my brothers a couple weeks ago. There was a play where there was a defensive stand done by Brooklyn. And on the other end, this was a month ago. Mm-hmm. And then on the other end, Jared Allen got an entry pass in the lane and went up and dunked it. Saw the whole Brooklyn bench was excited, pumped, jumped off the bench.
But not Kyrie.
Kyrie immediately after he dunked it and they called the and one, just turned to the referee. He's not celebrating with his teammates. He's too busy turning to the referee and complaining about the play before not getting fouled. And when I see stuff like that, okay, maybe. But in the moment, why aren't you celebrating that with every other teammate that saw the play? Like, that should be your instinct. And I feel like he's too me, and subtle plays like that just show it immediately.
Well, that could be looked at two ways, though, right? It could be looked at as he's incredibly engaged in the game, right? Or it could be looked at as he's incredibly engaged in himself. I guess
I lean towards the latter.
Yeah,
based on
I
what
can
we've
understand.
seen.
I can understand that as well. I just don't know what it is with him. Brooklyn's a perfect fit for him because everything over there is suspect. Every time we play Brooklyn, it's something suspect. The playoffs in, what was it, 2015? Was it 2015 playoffs where we played them in the first round? The clocks went out. It's always some suspect shit. The clocks went out. You know, the officiating was whatever. And now it's Kevin Durant trying to give the whole team, like, I understand that Kevin Durant. That was so weird. Like, you have been spearheading the NBA itself has been spearheading
just so we're clear, just let the viewers know exactly what we're talking about.
Well, so Kevin Durant is listed not to play that day, right? He's listed not to play because of COVID protocols and safety protocols.
I don't think he was listed not to play. I think he was told that he can't start the game because of COVID protocols.
He was, maybe, but to me it looked like he wasn't playing because of COVID protocols. In fact, if anybody says to me COVID protocol, right, it's about to get action-packed in this bitch. I see Marlon pulling up and Chris just texted me, so guest speakers.
We're almost through anyway.
Yeah. He was, if somebody says COVID protocols to me, if somebody comes into my work and tells me that so-and-so is not here because of COVID protocols, the way the world works right now, I don't think I'm seeing you all day. Anyways, he shows up on the bench. He can't start, but he checks in about, 4 minutes left in the first quarter? He's having an okay game, but he only shot 37% that game. Then the Raptors are leading at this point. We're up by 15. Great defense is being played. Just great defense is being played.
Number one style defense.
Number one style fucking defense is being played.
Yeah.
And Kevin Durant comes in, that starts to shift it, but the Raptors are still hanging tough. And then we start getting these weird calls, technicals. KD runs through Norman Powell. I've never seen that be a foul on the other guy, but whatever. Turns into a jump ball. There's a bunch of challenges. There's a bunch of jump balls. And through all these challenges, jump balls, and a couple of technicals, all of a sudden Brooklyn is in the lead. How weird.
Yeah.
And then he sits on the bench and they're like, actually, you can't play. And he goes back to now he can't even be on the bench. Right? The last time, just because I got a couple seconds, the last time this happened, the whole NBA shut down, and it was Rudy Gobert after we kicked their asses, and they were one of the number one teams in the league. Stop doing this against the Raptors. You Americans, figure your shit out before you come over to Toronto or Tampa, wherever the fuck you're going to play us, because the NBA at this point...
Well, this was in Brooklyn, actually. So.
Yeah, well...
I'm just saying.
Before we come to your house, get your shit in order.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I can stand behind that.
Like, it's so weird to me that the Raptors are always kind of a pseudo center for this. It's like, what is that? And then you're talking about the All-Star game now. You guys are having an All-Star game in Atlanta where everybody's outside, and it doesn't look like you guys have done anything to handle things.
Do you think they should have an All-Star game this year?
I could do without it.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's even going to garner the attention. I think you're going to spend more money than you're going to make.
I think...
How many fans do you plan to have in the stands?
I think the NBA has done their due diligence and they see that it's profitable.
Wow.
And the reason why it's profitable is not because of the fans in the stands. It's because the TV money, ad revenue, they probably already know what they're going to make off of it. And based on what they're going to make off of it, they want to have the game.
So they did their due diligence financially.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right?
Cool.
Well, didn't you just?
We're just in the middle of a fucking pandemic.
No, but that's what I'm getting at.
Like,
it just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
Like if you feel as though, if you have all these protocols in place, all right, and you're trying to sequester all these teams, and now you're going to bring an all-star from pretty much every team together, and then you're going to send them all back to their teams. It's just not logical.
Yeah, this isn't New Zealand.
You know what I was thinking should happen?
Tell me.
I actually hope, and I don't think they do this, but I think the solution is have 2 All-Star games next season.
That'd be pretty cool.
When I say have 2 All-Star games next season, launch your season next year with an All-Star game.
Okay.
All the people that were voted All-Stars this season, and I don't mean game 1, maybe you start the season, each team plays 4 games, and then you have the All-Star weekend that you were supposed to have this year, or the All-Star game, so to speak, right? It's the beginning of the season. These guys are all considered stars anyways based off of what they did last year, so it's not like they've fallen off since.
Okay.
Then you go through the next season, and you have your All-Star game as expected, except you have all the All-Star festivities, so on and so forth, assuming that we're nearing the end of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you started the season with some type of a All-Star type competition game,
Maybe even
to
an
start the
exhibition
season?
overseas kind of thing. Maybe not have it here because you're going to have another one in America anyways.
well,
Beijing.
and at
could
the
be
same
good.
time, you have the Tokyo Olympics coming up also, so you're going to get a lot of exhibition basketball over that period.
All-Star Wuhan.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
no.
cool, cool.
I don't even think that's funny, bro.
Yeah, maybe not.
All things considered.
I mean, Wuhan, are they open? I think they're
Yeah,
open.
they're back to. Apparently, they're back to like normal life.
Maybe All-Star Wuhan then. Maybe it's not supposed to be funny at all.
What was that Dave Chappelle thing again? The wrap it up. Oh,
Wrap it up, B. Anyways, yo, it's been super dope seeing you guys. Next week, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a tough stretch for the Raptors coming up, so it's going to be a lot of picking apart. We play Milwaukee twice.
Yeah, that's later on though. Like,
Oh.
For now, we got the Washingtons of the world. We got Memphis on Monday.
I think Memphis is a tough game. They don't typically play guards well with that great defense that they play. Anyways, Can I Kick It podcast? The homie, City of August James.
August James.
Thank you for coming out and having me. And thank you for all of us, or for all of you joining us. We'll see you next week. Peace. You didn't like All-Star Wuhan?
No, that was terrible actually.
I've been getting in trouble all week for saying things that I shouldn't say. Like, I say the initial thing, and then
I've been
later
in
on.
trouble all my life.
Yeah.
Saying shit I shouldn't say.